All right, so to continue on, after letting our meat marinate for about 24 hours, all the seasons and everything are gonna just permeate that meat and just make it nice and tender. I have my flame about on a medium high. We're gonna cook it medium rare. You don't want to cook it too fast. I'm gonna turn it down just a little bit more. So you don't want to cook it too fast, and you want to get both sides evenly coated, okay? So while that's cooking, we're gonna go right over. Let's pan over. We're gonna go right over to our sides. I have placed the green beans inside of a container, and I layered it with the olive oil. So with the olive oil, each layer has oil and it has black pepper. So after I do that, this is the final. I'm gonna layer this with olive oil and then put just a little bit more seasoning on it. Just a little bit more drizzle, the olive oil. And then we'll do just a little bit more black pepper. Just sprinkling it. Olive oil on it first helps it to kind of, helps the season to stick. So we'll get this ready to go into our wok. And then, ooh, I love the sizzle of the meats. We'll get that ready to go into our pot. So while that is sitting and resting, I'm going to go ahead and take off the tops for our containers of our onions and our scallions. Then we have our mushrooms, and then I'll cut open the bags of carrots and broccoli. All right, so I have just turned our flank steak over to the opposite side, and we're going to let that simmer and cook for probably about 6 minutes on this side. Being that this is a fairly thick piece of meat, you want to cook it on low, and you want to make sure that it cooks all the way through. So you may have to adjust your flame. Let's adjust the flame and bring it down some. All right, now we're going to go ahead and prepare our vegetables for searing. All right, so I've used just a little olive oil in the skillet just to kind of coat it, and then just kind of take it around and make sure that everything is coated on the bottom. If you need a little bit more, that's fine, use it. So now I'm going to turn this pilot light on, and we're going to turn it on a medium to high, and we're going to put our green beans in first. At this point, I have placed half of my green beans into the skillet. I've placed half of my carrots into the skillet. Now I'm going to go ahead and put half of my onions and scallions into the skillet as well. I'll put half of my mushrooms into the skillet. I'll put a tablespoon of garlic in with that mixture and see how things are. Now I've put just a tablespoon of garlic in along with my green beans, my onions, scallions, and carrots. So now I'm going to put the top on, turn the fire down a little bit, and let it simmer so that it can steam the vegetables and not overcook them too fast. All right, so now one of the key ingredients to your dish is going to be soy sauce. You don't want to make it extra salty. So initially you're going to put about a tablespoon to the pan. And if you have to measure it, then measure it. If not, you just kind of do like a simple pour, and that should be good. So we'll work on that. I'll mix it up some. It's been steaming for a little bit. See all the seasons and the garlic and the onion. Cover that back up. What I did, I halved my flank steak because of the thickness and how I'm going to slice it. So you can do that, or you can leave it whole. It just has to cook a little bit longer if you do. All right, so if you haven't noticed, I have added the broccoli florets, I've added mushrooms, and I've tossed them to coat them a little bit. I'm going to add just a tad bit more garlic, a teaspoon. And the last and final thing that I'm about to add in about 2 minutes, let that steam a little bit longer, is I'm going to add our noodles to the mixture. All right, so in your skillet or wok or whatever you're using that has a top, you want to place the rice noodles. They're not going to break apart evenly, so don't worry about breaking them apart. Once they get moist and the steam kind of loosens them up, they'll pull apart inside the pot. But right now they're really flaky, and it's really easy for you to just kind of pop them apart, and they end up everywhere. So go ahead, place them inside the skillet in full, place the top on it. I'm going to say maybe about 5 minutes, and it's like on a low to medium heat. Let them cook. All right, we're going to go ahead and turn the eye off to our flank steak. Looking at it, looks really good on both sides. It looks good inside also. It's not dried out or anything. It still has a lot of moisture, a lot of season to it. Just kind of peeling apart. Makes it easy for me to cut it into strips. I don't want it too flimsy. I want to have some texture. This makes it easier to cut into strips. So we'll take a look at our noodles, and if you notice a difference now, our noodles are bendable without popping, and that's what we want. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get it a little bit further down inside of our pan so that the moisture can get to them a little bit better. So we'll lift that up, put some of those good vegetables right on top. Be careful, don't take your skillet off the eye. The deeper they are, the better. All right, so I don't know if you've noticed the difference. I have green cutting board that I use for my vegetables. I have red cutting board that I use for my meat. So I'm gonna go ahead and take my flank steak off of the stove, and we're gonna go ahead and cut it up. All right, I've been asked a question, Anna, how do you get your pieces and your slices to cut so evenly and so easily? Well, you always cross-cut beef, so don't go with the grain, go against the grain, and it makes your cuts really flawless actually. So go against the grain and do just a little cutting from there, okay? Don't go with the grain, go against the grain. All right, so after letting everything simmer and cook for a little bit, letting your noodles get soft and pliable, we've turned the fire off, we've let it steam. This is pretty much the time where you want to plate your food. So I have that done and ready. Then over here, I have all my meat cut up. Everything is ready. I'm going to take and put my meat inside the container. That way we don't waste anything. Half of our vegetables are still in containers, so when you want to make some fresh for another time, later in the day, then you have it. You can just throw it all in there because everything is halved. So everything left in the container is the opposite other half. Okay, so I have everything pretty much packaged up and ready to put up for another sitting or another feeding for later on this evening. And it's only been roughly about 15-minute process. So this is just my meat. This is just my meat cut up and put into a container. And I put just maybe about a cup serving of either beef and or chicken, cooked exactly the same way, towards however much you want to put of the mixed vegetables on your plate. Bon appetit. All right, so here we have everything plated up. We have our rice noodles, we have our green beans, carrots, mushrooms, broccoli, florets. We have onions, scallions, pretty much a full serving of everything that you need for the day. And we have about 4 ounces of meat, give or take a couple ounces or more or less. And this, we have the same dish, a little bit more. This one's gonna be mine because I'm hungry, and this is my dinner, my lunch/dinner. So, bon appetit, enjoy. Bye.